Sometimes you come across a movie you totally forgot about. You saw it back in the day and loved it, but over time it just slipped from your memory. Then it pops up again, like an old friend. And that's part of what my channel is all about. Introducing you or reintroducing you to some of those great movies. And this is one of them. That's right. This time we're talking about Forever Young from 1992, starring Mel Gibson and Jamie Lee Curtis. Forever Young. Well, they didn't use that song in the movie. Anyway, our story goes like this. It's 1939 and Mel Gibson plays a cocky all-American test pilot. He's young, he's bold as brass, he has a lot of friends, and leads an exciting life. And he has a hot chick for a girlfriend. He's got it all, right? But for all that, he just can't summon up the gumption to pop the question and ask his chick to marry him. Fate takes a hand when he runs out of time. His girl gets hit by a vehicle when crossing the street, and due to the nature of her injuries, the doctors say she'll never wake up from the coma she's in. So poor Mel Gibson kind of falls apart and has a serious case of the SADS. But fortunately, he has a friend played by George Wendt, who is a scientist working on a secret cryogenics experiment. Gibson volunteers to be a test subject. He asks his friend to put him in cryo and wake him up later if and when his chick recovers. Flash forward to the then present day of 1992. Two kids are messing around at an old military warehouse when they come across this cryo chamber. They don't know what it is and assume it's a submarine or something. They have some fun turning valves and levers when suddenly the thing opens and they find Mel Gibson. Eventually, he recovers and tries to navigate what to him is the future. He tries contacting the military and anyone else who he thinks can help him find George Wendt and find out what happened and what went wrong. He makes friends with the two kids and one of the kids' mom, played by Jamie Lee Curtis. Now, this is pre-internet, so they can't just Google George Wendt. They gotta track him down the old school way using the phone book and stuff like that. But there's a problem. Gibson starts suffering from what we might call sleeper sickness, a syndrome caused by being in suspended animation. Only Gibson is starting to age rapidly as time begins to catch up with him. Along the way, there's the obligatory chase by government types after Gibson so they can study his condition in a lab and all that. So, also in the cast, we have Joe Morton as a scientist. He was in Smallville and Eureka and played Silas Stone in that Justice League movie. We also have David Marshall Grant, who plays an Air Force officer. He was in shows like 30-something and Nothing Sacred, and later became a producer on several TV series and projects. And yes, long before some old guy in a funny hat asked him to drop some jewelry into a volcano, that's Elijah Wood as the main kid who Mel Gibson befriends. On the face of it, this movie is fairly small, but it still feels fairly big. It has an interesting quality that way. It feels larger than it is. Steve Miner directed this, and he was a great choice. He worked on The Wonder Years and that awesome Elvis TV series from 1990. Well, that was a great show. The scenes set in 1939 really look the part. The action is serviceable in the action scenes, and perhaps one of my favorite moments takes place in this treehouse. Here, Gibson is teaching Wood how to fly using a cobbled-together, make-believe airplane control console. It's just a beautiful scene where sound effects and things are added to the imaginary flight the two are making, which gives it a reality you don't expect. Wonderful stuff, and the age makeup we see later on is really quite good too, and sells this aging process that Gibson's going through. Probably the biggest shock I got when researching this is that the movie was written by Jeffrey Abrams. Abrams had a long career, but later started getting a swelled head, a massive ego, and a Lyle Lovett hairdo. He started calling himself J.J. Abrams. That's right. Jar Jar himself wrote this, but Forever Young was back when he still had some talent, and before he was complicit in the murder of Star Wars and Star Trek. Ugh. I wish the Jar Jar of today would reconnect with the Jeffrey Abrams who wrote Forever Young. Imagine what wondrous things we might see. I'm giving Forever Young 2 3/4 paws. I've always loved this movie, even though it isn't this big epic thing like Back to the Future or Big Trouble in Little China. And while there's a great plane crash sequence in the beginning, there really aren't any flashy special effects. Just doesn't need them. It's a deceptively simple story. It's moving, but it's got some humor. It's got a bit of schmaltz in it for sure, but I still love it anyway. This is the kind of movie Hollywood has all but forgotten how to make today. You can watch another movie review about a time travel movie here, and down there you can see more movie reviews of movies from the 1990s. You take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.